greetings to you from wherever you're watching us tonight. Thanks for joining us on the Friday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Of course, we would like to start the show tonight talking about the NBA, the finals. Of course, Golden State Warriors, of course, emerging champions. There's a lot to unpack from what just happened in the early hours of today, and that's how we want to start the show today. There are other things lined up as well. We're going to be talking about the Nigeria Professional Football League at some point. We'll talk some tennis. We'll talk about the things going on in tennis. We'll also talk about the Super Falcons of Nigeria. We will also talk about preparations for the FIFA World Cup. But all that will be after we get into the conversation around the NBA. And of course, to help us with that tonight, a friend of the house, Ayotunde Onobolu, he joins us now as we take a look at what went down today. Greetings to you, Ayotunde. Thanks for joining. I can see you're sporting your Golden State Warriors jersey. Once again, thank you for being there for us. But I don't know where to start. There's a lot to talk about. But I mean, a lot of people said a lot of things about, these guys, Golden State Warriors, wrote them off, said a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Were you one of them?
No, hell no. I was not one of them, especially when the season started and I saw that they started with 18 wins and 2 losses. I felt like there was something special about them. And I realized Klay Thompson was not even playing there and he wasn't going to be available until January. And that when Klay Thompson comes back, we know he's one of the ultimate competitors in the game. And I knew he wouldn't necessarily be at his best, but the firepower and the experience and his defending will help the Golden State go a long way. And as the season progressed, they struggled here and there trying to adjust rotations for Klay Thompson to enter. But then we saw, as the playoffs started, after 2 games against the Denver Nuggets, I was like, whoa, these guys are in for real. And they grew stronger and stronger, and their defense especially began to pay dividends for them. So I am not surprised that they won the title in any way.
All right. Keeping the core together, you're talking about Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and, of course, Klay Thompson. A lot of people have questioned that, but it seems to have paid off again.
Of course. I mean, without question. So these guys, prior to 2022, had won 3 NBA titles together, and every one of them played a vital role in those achievements, starting from 2015, and then Kevin Durant joining them in 17 and 18. And then they've been in the finals, including this one, 6 times in 8 years. And that is no mean feat. And between them, well over 10 All-Star appearances, between them MVPs, between them Defensive Player of the Year, first team NBA, second team NBA, third team NBA. Like, they've been there, they've done that. And that experience is so valuable. And I am one person who really believes that the experience of this core really, really, really helped them against the Boston Celtics. And one other player that people fail to mention a lot is Andre Iguodala. He's another one of the guys who now has 4 titles to his name. And even though he didn't play much this year, you could tell that he had a big impact on the team because he was more like an assistant coach playing sporadic minutes for them. And in especially in game 6 that we saw over the night, we saw a time where Gary Payton committed what looked like a silly foul, and Iggy called him to the side and was telling him, no, at this level of the game, this is how you should comport yourself. This is what you should do. This is what you shouldn't do. That veteran presence absolutely paid off for the Warriors.
All right, at the start of game 6, it appeared like the Celtics were gathering steam, gaining momentum at the start. And some of us were worried. Of course, we were torn. Emile Doka on one side. Then, of course, the love for the Golden State Warriors, we were torn. But then again, like you said, as everything progressed, you're beginning to look at Golden State and you're thinking, this might just be it. But in the early minutes of that game, were you having doubts about the Golden State Warriors?
So I have watched basketball for so many years. I have followed the Golden State Warriors for a long time. And if there's one constant thing in basketball, it's the fact that basketball is a game of runs. So you don't win a basketball game in the first quarter. No. You win the basketball game at the end of 48 game time minutes. Okay. So we've seen games in this series where it was the Golden State Warriors who came out firing and the Boston Celtics went on a run. Game one is there for everybody to refer to. So when the Boston Celtics went on that it was a 12-2 start. Steve Kerr took a timeout, came back from the timeout. They added two more. And then the Golden State Warriors went on a 21-0 run. Like, it was just ridiculous. I was wondering what is happening to the Celtics. It was all about the defense of the Golden State Warriors and the ability to run in transition, make fast break shots, and then cause the Boston Celtics to commit turnovers. So I wasn't worried after that 14-2 start. I expected the Celtics to come out aggressive. I mean, it was a win or go home situation for them. So I wasn't surprised. And I didn't think I doubted the Golden State Warriors at all after that run.
All right, let's spare a thought for the Boston Celtics, because I know we're going to spend the whole of the time talking about Golden State Warriors. So let's just quickly spare a thought for them. What went wrong? They were playing in front of their own fans. Everything seemed right, and it looked like they were going to fight. They came out fighting, but something just went off.
So we have to give credit to the Boston Celtics, because at the start of the season, I don't think anyone picked them to play in the NBA Finals, especially because their team wasn't gelling. They had a first-year head coach in Ime Udoka, and they started 2023 and 24 to the season. No one thought anything of them, but then they picked it up, especially defensively, became the best defensive team in the league. But against the experienced Golden State Warriors side, 3-2 up, the pressure was on Boston. One thing that had been wrong with Boston throughout the entire playoffs was their inability to protect the basketball at all costs. Turnover numbers were insane. And this is where, the turnovers happen in two ways. You're just careless with the ball, or the other team plays some incredibly stingy defense on you that they force you to give the ball over. It was a combination of the two for the Celtics. So when you turn the ball over, as much as the Celtics turn the ball over, that is a recipe for disaster. And they could not contain Steph Curry, who, remember, went 0 for 9 from downtown in Game 5. And everybody knew that Steph was going to have a bounce-back game in Game 6, but the Celtics had absolutely no response to them. But then one guy I must single out for some incredible praise is the guy that wears this number, 22, Andrew Wiggins, number 1 overall pick in 2014, completely written off as a bust in the league until they joined the Warriors. He played defense on Jason Tatum, who is supposed to be the leader of the Celtics. And like the saying goes, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter.
Definitely.
Once Jason Tatum was stifled, it was all over for the Celtics. Jalen Brown played very well. Jalen Brown has a lot of growth to make. The fact that he drives the ball and he's always looking down, you got to keep your head up. You got to see what the defense is throwing at you. So he runs into traffic a lot. But at the end of the day, Jason Tatum was completely eliminated. He scored 11 points in the first half. And in all of the second half, he scored a grand total of 2 points. That can never, ever be winning basketball in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, where you have to win to be able to force Game 7.
All right, before we talk about Steph Curry, I want to just take probably a minute, talk about Steve Kerr, the coach. A lot of credit has to go to him as well. I mean, did you just look at his resume? Once a player, done especially his stint with the Chicago Bulls. A lot of wins there. Then comes as a coach. There's no way you could write the success story of the Golden State Warriors without mentioning his name.
Yeah, I am ranking Steve Kerr, and this might sound wild and people may come for my head, but it's all good. I'm ranking Steve Kerr as the 4th greatest coach of all time.
Wow.
And in terms of his achievements, and you might want to find out who are the 3 ahead of him. I'm putting Red Auerbach, the man who is known for winning, the man in charge of the Boston Celtics dominating in the 60s. Then I'm putting Phil Jackson, the ultimate title, the ultimate champion, 11 titles as a coach. And then I'm putting Greg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs, and then I'm putting Steve Kerr, who obviously picked bits and pieces from every one of those three coaches I mentioned ahead of him. This is a man who understands the game so well. After his playing days, where he won 5 NBA titles with the Bulls and with the Spurs, he went into management, and in the front office in Phoenix, he didn't really enjoy success there. And then he became an analyst for TNT before the Golden State Warriors under Joe Lacob and Peter Gruber decided, we want you to be our head coach. And the first move he made as head coach was to tell Andre Iguodala, who was a star in his right, we're going to need you to come off the bench. When you see a coach talk to a star player that way, you know he's up to something. He had the choice between keeping Steph Curry, okay, who was so injury prone, right? And Monte Ellis, who was a proven 20-plus point scorer per night, but he opted to keep Steve Kerr, much to the disdain of the fans. But a decade down the line, everything has paid off. In terms of X's and O's, Steve Kerr is excellent. He calls a timeout for his team, and when they're coming back from the timeout, he's making a winning play. That is just genius. And that is the kind of person Steve Kerr is. So I'm really excited for him, and I don't believe this is the last title Steve Kerr will win as Golden State's coach.
Okay, all right. I want you to listen to Steve Kerr and, of course, Steph Curry, their immediate reactions after winning that title. Then we'll come back for more. We'll get your thoughts again. So, so stay with us. Let's just quickly listen to, of course, man of the moment, Steve Kerr, and, of course, the man that made it all happen, of course, Steph Curry.
It's really special to see guys like Wiggs and Loon and Gary Payton, just how far they've come, the impact they made. Jordan Poole, same thing. And I know I'm going to forget people, but it takes a full team effort to do this. And we just had a great group who got it done.
Then you go through these last 2 years and conversations, narratives, we're too old, the parallel timelines of developing young guys and keeping our core together, all those tough decisions that we had to make, that weighs on you for as much time as we were going through it. And then you get to the point where you're in a playoff series against, Denver and then Memphis and then Dallas and get to Boston, and it's like, we're right here, and it's surreal. I was talking about the narratives that you hear going into this season, especially, and coming off the 2 years prior where we literally had the worst record in the league. We had a lot of injuries, and then, scratching and clawing, trying to get through the play-in tournament to just get a playoff berth. We definitely had that mentality that our belief and faith in what we can do, and we kept saying it all year, our championship DNA, and
All right. Of course, immediate reactions from the coach and the star player immediately after winning. Everybody's talking about the Golden State Warriors. Ayatollah Olobolu is still with me. Hayo, a lot of people have said, I don't know if you agree, of course, I respect your opinion a lot. A lot of people have said Steph Curry has been disrespected a lot. That some have even went as far as saying he's one of the most disrespected players in the NBA. But after this, can we begin to put him maybe on the level of Michael Jordan, now that he has 4, Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, players on that level?
Yes. Yeah, so the people who have disrespected Steph Curry, honestly, if you look at some of the arguments they've made, you can see a point in what they're saying, even though, if you look deeply at Steph Curry's career, you probably feel maybe they're a bit too harsh. And a lot of their criticism stems from the fact that he had won 3 NBA titles, and as great as he is, he never won Finals MVP. But you got to understand that when Andre Iguodala won the Finals MVP in 2015, a lot of people, including me, felt it should have been Steph Curry. Andre Iguodala coming into the starting lineup and playing defense on LeBron. LeBron still got his numbers, but Andre Iguodala was like the catalyst to make it happen. But look at Steph Curry's numbers. He should have won MVP then. But then Kevin Durant joined them, 17, and then 18, and they won the title. Kevin Durant was clearly the best player in terms of the numbers he put up, and Kevin Durant's presence on the team made Steph Curry enjoy the run. But more importantly, Steph Curry's presence on that team gave Kevin Durant a lot of space to do what he could do. So I can understand that. But no Kevin Durant. Now, Stephen Curry is the star player of Golden State. And 2 terrible years, one in which he had an injury, 2 years without Klay Thompson. They finished with 15 wins in 1 year. They lost in the playing tournament to Memphis Grizzlies in the other year. And in the very third year, he leads them to the NBA Finals. In the second year, when they went to the playing tournament, he was the scoring champion in the league, making it 2 for him. And then he leads them to the NBA Finals. And then they win the NBA Finals in 6, putting up 31.2 points per game, shooting 48% from the field, shooting 43% from downtown, adding 7 rebounds and 6 assists to become the Finals MVP. Those were all-time great numbers he put up. So right now, I know they're going to come for me again. The Steph Curry slander, if you are still on that bandwagon, then something must be seriously wrong with you. Because Steph Curry is not just an all-time great. He's not just the greatest shooter that the good Lord ever created. Steph Curry is a top 10, you heard me, top 10 all-time player. I don't know what position he is. I know he's not number 1. That's usually for Michael Jordan. And maybe he's not as high as LeBron James. But then if he wins another title before LeBron James and he wins number 5 and he repeats as Finals MVP, then a lot of things will be changing. But right now, he definitely is in the company of Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Larry Bird, Bill Russell. You talk about all those greats, including LeBron James. He definitely is in their company.
All right. Do you think the Golden State have a decision to make? When you look at the core, the guys we've mentioned, and some of the other guys, the support cast, do you think they have to keep this team, or they have to which one of those 2 decisions do you think they will make going forward? I mean, you look at guys who are well in. I mean, I don't want to say gone past their prime, but on the peak, can't probably go beyond what the level they are now. And
I totally feel you. Now, the decision on how your team looks for a season is based off of several factors, and one of them is the salary cap of your team. But you see, the advantage the Warriors have, which is the advantage teams like the Los Angeles Lakers, the Chicago Bulls, the Miami Heat. These are teams who play in big markets. And so they have the luxury of going over the luxury tax like other teams in the small market areas cannot dare to do. So the Warriors, I'm telling you what they're going to do. They're obviously going to keep their core. Klay Thompson just played this year. He started playing in January. He had no offseason. He had no preseason. He's going to have that. So if you thought Klay Thompson was washed, then you better think again, because now he will be fully prepared for the new season. Steph and Draymond are not going anywhere. And then if you saw the video in the locker room when they were celebrating, Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins was telling Jordan Poole, you're going to get the bag. Jordan Poole was telling Andrew Wiggins, you're going to get the bag. They both deserve to get the bag. I don't see either of them leaving the team, especially after winning what they have won so far. And if you know how Joe Lacob and Peter Gruber, and of course the general manager, one of the greatest in the history of sports, Bob Myers, if you know how they reason, they are so passionate about winning. So if whoever is coming in is not better than what they already have, they are not going for that person. If there's anybody who might be sacrificed, it might be someone like Nemanja Bjelica. It might even be Otto Porter Jr., But guys like those core 3, Andre Iguodala may be retiring, but guys like Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, and the lottery pick who could not get to play, James Wiseman, those guys are not going anywhere. I don't know, but Gary Payton, I don't think he's going to go anywhere either. But then Juan Toscano Anderson, the homeboy, Moses Moody, I don't believe he's going anywhere. So I think it's still going to be the same team for the most part in the next season.
All right. Well, I'm enjoying this, but we need to go on a break. Stay with us. We're going on a break. When we come back, we continue with our conversation on the NBA Finals. So let's go on that break and return for more on Sports. All right, welcome back. We're talking about the NBA Finals. Golden State Warriors champions for the seventh time in their history. We've been talking about all the ingredients that make them all come together. I've talked about the core, the three guys who've seen it all, been there, done big things for their team. And also, I mean, on your screen right now, pictures of the fans, wild scenes of celebration, jubilation all across California, and it was very nice to see. All right, and of course, two sides always compete in a final, and of course, the Boston Celtics lost, but their coach has a thing or two to say, and a lot of the fans also feel that the team will be back. Let's listen to Ime Udoka talk about his immediate reaction after losing the final to the Golden State Warriors, and of course, we'll get Ayotunde's thoughts on all of that.
It's going to hurt, and it'll hurt for a while, and probably, that stuff never goes away. I've lost one before, and so that was part of the message. Let it propel us forward. The experience and growth and progress that we made this season, obviously getting to your ultimate goal and falling a few games short, it's going to hurt, and there are a lot of guys in there very emotional right now. So the message was, we thank them for the effort and the growth and everything they allowed us to do coaching-wise this year. And the biggest message was learn from this, grow from it, take this experience and see there is another level to get to with a team like Golden State who has been there, done that, and it was evident in a lot of ways. And just don't come back the same as players, coaching staff, and let this fuel you throughout the offseason the next year. We had our chances throughout the series, and, losing game 4 and then game 5, we had leads in the fourth quarter. So you tighten up and do some things offensively, and it's a different story. So I don't think, obviously guys didn't play their best, and our bench last few games struggled. So they've been consistent all year, and I don't really look at it like we didn't have enough, but guys didn't play their best, honestly, and credit Golden State for that. They had a huge part in that. Very consistent team on the defensive end.
All right. Of course, today, let's talk about. Let's just flip back and go back to. We've said a lot about Golden State already. Do you think we're still going to see these guys on this stage, maybe in a year or two? Do you think this experience, this experience will be positive? A loss is always painful, but do you think overall it's going to be a positive experience for the team?
I mean, it's been a ride. The fact that nobody saw these guys come up, get this far in the season in the first place, especially when they started as an under sub 500 team. The fact that there were rumors that Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown could not play together, and Marcus Smart comes out, calls the stars out, and then everything gels on from them. We're going to see the Boston Celtics, but you must also note that the fact that the Celtics got into the finals as the best team in the Eastern Conference is added motivation for some of the other teams in the Eastern Conference. Trae Young, at the end of the game, tweeted, "I want to play in the finals so bad." And that can mean so many things. Either he stays in Atlanta or he looks for a trade into a team where he believes he can be in a winning situation. And come to think of it, if he joins Boston, that would be crazy, though. Great point guard in him. But besides that, you look at teams like the Miami Heat, who lost to the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. They had a lot of injuries. Now they're extra motivated to try to get back to the peak of their powers next year. You look at the Milwaukee Bucks, who I still believe we probably might be having a different conversation today if Chris Middleton actually played in the series against the Boston Celtics. But you can't blame the Celtics for that. They took care of business. So Jason Tatum, for one, I believe is going into the offseason thinking, yeah, my back is against the wall now. Yeah, the whole world things are absolutely messed up in the biggest stage, in the biggest games of my career. He's going to spend his offseason working extra hard. having that Mamba mentality at the back of his mind. And I think the Celtics will still be great. Whether they'll make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or whether they'll make it back to the NBA Finals next year, it will be tough, but I am not counting it beyond their ability to achieve.
All right, today, before we let you go, one more question, and it's a wrap. How easy will it be to keep the guys in Golden State motivated? I mean, it's something I've been thinking about. How easy will it be? This year, because of all the criticisms, it was able to spur them to achieve, but now they've done that. Is there anything else that could motivate these guys?
So I believe that winning itself is motivation. The greatest players to ever play this game were never satisfied winning one. Jordan went to 6 NBA finals. He won 6 NBA finals, never played a game 7. The Chicago Bulls were never in the finals before Jordan, and after Jordan, they've never been in the finals. That is what greatness is all about. Tim Duncan lost the NBA finals in 2014 to the Miami Heat because of that Ray Allen 3-point dagger in the closing stages of Game 6, and then ultimately gave momentum to the Miami Heat. He was motivated, came back next year, and he got ring number 5, right? You look at Shaquille O'Neal. You look at Kobe Bryant. Kobe played with Shaquille, won 3 titles together in 99, 2000, 2001. That core broke up because of the beef between Kobe and Shaq, and Kobe told himself, yeah, Shaq was finals MVP those 3 years we won together. I got to make my own winning. And he spurred him so bad, they beat the Orlando Magic in the finals in 2008, and they beat the Boston Celtics in the finals in 2010, and they went to 3 straight finals in that span. That is what greatness is all about. So for Steph Curry, for Klay Thompson, for Draymond Green, they've won 4 now. They're looking at the all-time greats, 5 and above. Let's get ourselves in that class. All 3 of them are going to the Hall of Fame, no question. But what's going to set them apart from all the other all-time greats who have played this game is now how much more they are motivated to keep winning at the highest level. And believe me, the naysayers are out again saying the Golden State Warriors will not repeat as NBA champions next year. And that alone, there are some guys who want to just hear you go against them. They are just happy. Like Steph, we heard Steph Curry a few minutes ago. We've heard Draymond Green talk about it a whole lot. Yeah. You guys keep writing us off and we will keep surprising you. So I believe they are motivated, and those young guys, Jordan Poole came into his own this year. We're going to see a lot more of Jonathan Kuminga. Mm-hmm. You're going to see a lot more from Moses Moody. I think they are still motivated, and I'm probably calling the Golden State Warriors in the finals next year if they are healthy.
Okay. I have to do a lot. Thank you for your time.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
Yeah, all right. We'll bring you back if it happens. I want to thank you for your time on the show. Hopefully we'll do this again some other time.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. That's our friend today, Onabolu, speaking to us on the NBA. All right, let's move on. We're done with basketball. It's time to talk football on the show tonight. Let's start off talking about the ladies, the women. It's 15 days to go. Talking about the African Women Cup of Nations. 15 days to go. The 2022 African Women Cup of Nations is upon us. A little over 2 weeks, and the competition will start. Of course, the Super Falcons have kicked into gear. The camp has opened. You already have 19 players in camp, training in Abuja as they prepare for the tournament. And, of course, the names are right there on your screen. Let me quickly read out the names right there. Captain Olomebi Rita Chikwelu, Osinachi Ohale Tochweku, Oluehi, Glory Ogbola, Sisters Oshola, Rashidat Ajibade, Chiamaka Nadozie, Chidima Okeke, Rita Kareko, Gift Monday, Okpayemi Sunday, Charity Adule, Christy Ucheibe, Suliat Abidin, Chinoyere McLeans. You have Peace Effie, Ogochi Emelayo, Akudo Ogbona. All of these players are already in camp. For those who are expected, probably in camp right about now. For those who are expected today, before the end of today, Yewande Balogo, Tony Payne, Michelle Alozie, and Amanda Mbadi. Those are the players expected. Then over the weekend, we The team expects Nicole Payne to join up with the team, Uche Nakano as well, Desire Okparanozie, and Regina Otu. Then, of course, some of the players will join the team in Morocco. You have Ashley Plumter, Francisca Odega, Vivian Ikechiku, Halimatu Ayinde, and Ifioma Olumonu. Those players will join the team in Morocco. All right, Alfred Okoligwe joins me now as we take a look at all the other things happening in the world of sports. Greetings to you, Alfred. Thanks for finding out time to be with us on the show tonight.
Very good evening to you, Yemi, and indeed to the viewers out there. I'm excited to be here. It's another Friday, time to look forward to Park as well. If you follow the Nigerian Premier League, these are really exciting times for those who follow the league, because it is that time of the season where you see a lot of things happen. Unfortunately, the battle is not for who wins the league this time. I think Rivers United has had that. Yeah. They've had that wrap. But that battle of who goes down is really big. And when a man is desperate, he's capable of anything.
Yeah, when you're clinging to life. But that's not where we're starting, Alfred. Let's talk about what you just heard me talk about. 15 days to the big one, the African Women Cup of Nations. And of course, you already know the Super Falcons. You already have 19 players in camp, some being expected, and everything clicking into gear for our girls. I want to get your thoughts on our preparations.
I think it's a good one. The Nigerian Football Federation has come out to state what their programs are. They're campaigning in Morocco ahead of the event. Having 19 players on the first day of the training will start, I think it's a good one. And some of the players are still being expected, while others will join the team in Morocco. It's for the Falcons, some will say an end of a cycle. For some players in that team, this might perhaps be their last AFCON, or AFCON as it's called. I was in South Africa 2010 when some of the players who still play now made their debut for the senior women's national team. The likes of Peter Chikulu, Abantu, as she's called, amongst other players, made their debut at what's her name? The lady had played the former captain Desire Okparanozie. Yeah, that's so they made her debut in South Africa in a competition that we played in a place known as Davidson Senaba in South Africa. We eventually won that competition, and this is one competition that Nigerians more than pay just a passing interest in. Nigerians believe that the women's national team are the best on the continent, and each time they go for a competition like this, we expect them to win. But we know that other countries are beginning to close that gap. We're beginning to see different development elsewhere on the continent, not only the West African sub-region. Indeed, the likes of Ghana are bearing the brunt of the new qualification format for the AFCON. And so, for those who make it to this competition are in themselves champions of their different confederation, as it were, different regions. And so it makes it more interesting. But for me, I think Randy Wardrop has his work cut out. We've had coaches who coach locally, handle this team, win the AFCON. And so the task will not be different. What we ask for will not be different. Anything short of winning the trophy will get Nigerians talking about our women's national team.
All right. So the standard has been set so high. Anything less than winning the AFCON, then a lot of questions will have to be answered. Alfred, let's just go to the thing you were so eager to talk about, the Nigeria Professional Football League. When the business end, everything is closing. And I do agree with you. It appears like Rivers United have not just one hand, two hands wrapped around the trophy, unless a disaster of immense proportion happens. But let me quickly run through the fixtures. Match day 34 is what is upon us over the weekend. Abia Warriors take on Kano Pillars. Dakar FC will take on Aqua United. Enugu Rangers will be up against Rivers United. This will be an interesting game. Heartland will take on Katsina United. All of this match day 34. You also have Kwara United taking on Sunshine Stars. MFM fighting for their lives will be up against the Abai Elephants, talking about Ayimba. Niger Tornadoes will try on Nasarawa United for size. Plateau United will trade tackles with Gombe United. These are the fixtures. You also have Rebel Stars, of course, have surprised everybody with what they've done this season. We'll take on Lobby Stars. Wiki Torres will also take on Shooting Stars. All right, Alfred, I want to get your thoughts, especially on the teams battling relegation. It looks like we have an idea, the first two, what the teams that will be first, second, I think we have an idea that maybe just one ticket up for grabs, then the other probably will be gotten through the FA Cup. But I'm more concerned about the teams that are facing the drop. Which one of them do you think will survive?
Well, it's still very fluid. It's very difficult for me to categorically say which one I think. It's still very fluid. Lobby Stars, for example, play Remo Stars. Remo themselves want to put themselves in a position where they see they can pick up one of the continental tickets, and that will mean that they have to win. That will mean they'll have to win at home. And so for Lobby Stars, if they get a loss, what would the circumstances that they got that victory over Heartland, a match that's got everybody talking? Heartland that's screaming blue mother. Heartland themselves to have a must-win game at home against Katsina United. Safe to say that the only team that you look at to say, okay, if they lose this weekend, might just be it. Fate accomplished, science still delivered, just be MFM. They have an uphill task against Eimba International. Now, if Eimba is looking to pick points on the road, which that in itself will have ramifications for teams, how the log will finally end at the end of the season, especially as regards to the third place finish. Eimba are tied on points with Rangers International. Rangers only on goal difference is Rangers in that third place. Now Rangers will host Rivers United because they expected to come with the Armada. Chijoke Akuneti, who is gunning for the top scorers award, he had 16 goals so far. Ishak Rafi, who has 14 goals, looking to up the ante. The Golden Boot, the battle for the Golden Boot is looking very, very interesting. So for that, Enyimba feel that they will need to get points against MFM in Ijebu. If you do that, and Rangers failed to get the maximum points against Rivers United, that's which causes the cracker for me this weekend. That means there might just be changes on how the log ends at the end of the season, because first two, Plateau United, in fact, Rivers United can even win the league this season. This weekend, because if Plateau United fail to beat Gombe in Jos, and Rivers United beat Rangers International in Oka, that means it's finished, it's done, just said.
You read my mind, actually. I was about to ask you if there's anything that can delay the party for Rivers United, and based on what you have said, if Plateau United does not win and Rivers United do not lose, then it's over, because that would mean they would maintain their 10 points, and you can't get 10 points from 3 games. So for Plateau United to delay the party, they must win. They must win this weekend. I think Rivers United have done enough so far to get the trophy, and that's why I said it looks like they have 2 hands, not just one, wrapped around the trophy. It's just a matter of time. Then can we begin to look at maybe, apart from the top 2, the team that can seal that other place that guarantees a place on the continent?
For that place, Kwara United are in with a shout. Rangers International has been occupying that third place for a while, but adverse results have not helped their cause. They played 2 away games. Well, that's what the picture says. They played 2 away games, one against Rivers United, which they lost. They went to Nasarawa United, yes, against Nasarawa. They also lost. So this second stanza of the season has been really poor. The away result for Rangers International. they sometimes find it difficult to score on the road, but they concede, and that has not helped their cause. They were one of the very, very tight, decent side, based on their way form in the first stanza. But we've seen these things happen. Ishak Rafiu, as early as March day 14, was on like 10 goals or thereabouts. I scored plenty of goals, and all of that just disappeared in the second part of the season. So for teams, I guess the travel and all of the wear and tear of the league just affect the second stanza, and so that's what you get. For Rivers United, the party had chances. This fixture, when they hosted in Port Harcourt, one somewhat controversial goal settled it. Rangers held their own until very late. Rivers United got the only goal of that game. They've done better. If so far this season, Rivers United, the least, and when it comes to goal scoring, they scored the highest number of goals. They've lost like 4 games this season. That tells you that they're solid both at home and on the road. And this season, they've been phenomenal this season.
Okay, I agree with you, Alfred. We need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we'll talk tennis as we prepare to wrap things up on the show. Let's go for that break and return for more on Sports Tonight. All right, welcome back. Well, the home stretch. Let's quickly talk about the 2026 World Cup that will be jointly held by 3 countries, the United States, Mexico, and Canada. FIFA has been talking about what to expect when that tournament will be hosted. And of course, the countries involved are already preparing for the Mundial. Let's just quickly listen to FIFA President Gianni Infantino share his thoughts with us on the 2026 World Cup.
This part of the world doesn't realize what will happen here in 2026. I mean, these 3 countries will be put upside down and then flipped again back. The world will be invading Canada, Mexico, and the United States, and they will be invaded by a big wave of joy and of happiness, because that's what football is about. And you said it rightly. I mean, football is also the sport of course, of the immigrant, of the inclusion, of bringing people together. And this part of the world, in these 3 countries, you know, from many points of view, you are leading the world in many areas, in economy, in sport, and so on. But in the number 1 sport in the world, which is soccer or football, you're not yet. And the objective must be that you will be leading the world as well in the world's number 1 sport.
All right, Gianni Infantino telling the world what to expect for 2026. All right, Alfred, let's just quickly talk about this one. Of course, worst kept secret, Sadio Mane, of course, has not hidden his desire to leave Liverpool. And of course, tonight, of course, it's in the news that Liverpool and Bayern have been able to agree a deal for the transfer of the Senegalese forward. It all started like as if it was a joke, but it looks like it will happen. And a lot of the fans would have loved him to stay with Liverpool, but it does appear that he is on his way out.
For £35 million, they still by Bayern Munich. He's not one of the highest earners. I think that would have made the decision to leave. He's not one of the highest earners in Liverpool. Very soon, I'm sure he's closer to the exit door than he's starting his career. At some point in your career, you want to look for that big paycheck. I think Bayern just offered that opportunity. It's an exciting project they have there. And who doesn't want to play for Germany's number one team? They are one of those iconic teams that somehow players really want to play for, both Germans and non-Germans. And so it's just something that I'm sure the young man would have thought long and hard about and made the decision. For some of the Liverpool fans, they are not happy that he's leaving, but he spent 6 seasons in Liverpool. Of those 6 seasons, he scored 20 plus goals in 4 of those 6 seasons. As one of the most prolific assets. Somehow, Liverpool moving quickly to sign Nunes and, of course, strengthen their squad. We'll see how it goes. For Sadio Mane going to Bayern Munich, I think it's for him. It's maybe for the money, better remuneration. It's all good. That's what football is all about. Sometimes instead of just sitting back in your comfort zone, you just have to go out there to seek for pastures and in.
All right. I guess that's how we have to wrap things up on the show tonight. Unfortunately, I thought we were going to be able to talk about tennis, but we can't. We can't because we're pressed for time. Alfred Okoligwe, I want to thank you for your time on the show today. Hopefully, we'll do this again some other time.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure always.
All right, so that's the show today. We do hope you enjoyed everything we've been able to bring to you. We'll be back here again next week. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you again. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.